The best Final Fantasy tier list returns once again. Today we are ranking 7 through to 9 alongside what we did from 1 to 6. I need to get my numbers right. Come on, Jen, get it right. But you can watch that video here. I suggest that you do that before coming to this video so you know why them are there where they should be. And today we may tinker with those and kind of revisit those very slightly because I do have a few opinions, but that's for the main bulk of the video. This is just the intro. So with that all being said, what is up, guys? Jen here. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, I've got you covered with timestamps, so if you want to skip to a certain Final Fantasy, you can do so. But don't skip ahead to the end of the video, see where they are and go, Jen, I don't agree with you, when you don't know the reasons why they are there. It's okay if we agree, it's okay if we disagree. We can have a healthy discussion in the comments, but again, the timestamps are there for you to for convenience, and all I ask in return is to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. So let's get straight into it. Let's flip over to the tier list, and this is the tier list we had last time. In S we have Final Fantasy V and 6. We have in B, we have Final Fantasy IV, C, we have 3 and 1, and D, we have 2, but I do want to revisit a few of those before we do those 3 at the bottom. Yes, I am using the record keeper sprites. I love using them. All of my tier lists have them, and it's just nice to have this pixel art, right? Okay, so I want to talk about Final Fantasy VI because I'm going to move this into A, and the reason is, like, reflecting on it, and I have thought about this. I'm not coming into this video trying to cause controversy straight off the bat, but I kind of went over my videos again and listened to what I had to say, re-looked at the notes that I had in my notebook, and Final Fantasy VI is a really good Final Fantasy. I think it's one of the best, but for me, it just was not on par for what Final Fantasy V gave me. Now, that being said, Final Fantasy IV, I gave it a lot of flack because of its tropes and because of people dying and coming back to life. I was going to bring it up to A behind 6 because I felt like it deserved to be there, but I think I'm going to stick with it being in B. There is one more Final Fantasy I'm going to move, and that is Final Fantasy II in S. Gotcha! Not really. That's going straight back down to D. As good as it might be, there's the random encounters and empty rooms still get to me to this day. The one I want to move is Final Fantasy I. Now, with it being its first, obviously it's experimenting, it's the first offering, and reflecting and looking back on what I was saying about it, you know, it's one of those games that just, it's a Final Fantasy, and it really is a nice game to play. But when looking through my notes and reflecting back on it, I need to give you a valid reason or you guys are going to absolutely flame me. But the reason it is lowered slightly is just to its A to B nature and just its general kind of testing grounds, with it being the first. 3 will stay in C because I like the job system, but I think the story's still very flat. And 5, again, the job system is my fave. So that's what we're rocking with, okay? I'm hoping you're happy with me just rearranging them slightly. It just, opinions can change, and I like to reflect, I like to reminisce, and just kind of talk about it just a little bit more. So I'm just getting those out there. So let's move to Final Fantasy VII, and this is probably going to be biased, but also very true to a lot of people, especially around my age or who first experienced their RPGs on the PlayStation. Now, Final Fantasy VII was my first. It introduced me to RPGs. I got invested in its characters. It's the first game that got me to read. I read through this game more than I was reading through books at the time that I had to do for school. This game was truly just putting me through the paces and investing me at a very young age. There was things that I didn't get when I first played it, but I've played it probably 13, 14 times after that, and I love this game with a passion. I love the fact that it's got a compilation, and I love the fact that it keeps on giving through games like Ever Crisis and with Rebirth coming up around the corner at the time of me making this video. Final Fantasy VII changed my life, not only as a gamer, but just in general, and I owe it a lot, and it really is a big part of my childhood. And for that reason, to no one's surprise that knows me, you know, the channel name is Genesis 7. Final Fantasy VII is the top of the list. I'm going to put it there in front of Butts Cloud and Butts, but Cloud takes the cake because Final Fantasy, in my opinion, is one of the best. And again, that is my opinion, and I'm really open to you kind of giving me your takes on Final Fantasy VII if you agree or disagree. But I think it was just the right time for me, the right kind of playthrough. Replaying it again and again as each playthrough went through, another piece of the compilation came out and things changed here and there. It just kept it interesting for me. So Final Fantasy VIII. Now, it's one of those Final Fantasies that get the flack for mainly for the junction system and for its just general statistics system and its battle system and the fact that the enemies level up with you. I think that's the only gripe. I know a few people don't like the story, but I love the story. I love Triple Triad. I love the world of Final Fantasy VIII, and I really love Squall as a character, especially with me getting older, dealing with my own mental troubles, my anxiety. Very relatable character, especially in my most latest playthrough. Now let's kind of rewind back and talk about that battle system. One thing that I said in the Final Fantasy VIII Platinum series video was I approached Final Fantasy VIII without trying to collect everything. And I mean that with the spells, because in past playthroughs that really spoiled it for me is I would just waste so much time getting 100 of each spell before moving on to the next. And yes, I know that I could get junction abilities that then could refine things. I did that too, but I was really reluctant to use the magic, and that really took away of the game. I just relied on attacks because I had all the statistics to boost that. This time I used spells in the right situations. I messed around with the junction system. I didn't mind if I didn't have 100, and that really changed the game for me. It really changed the way I approached it, and I had a real good time and quite a challenge as I was getting towards the end of the dungeon. I really think Final Fantasy VIII, yes, it does have its flaws, but it is a great Final Fantasy if you just play it so naturally and just give it the time that it needs. And Triple Triad. So for that reason, I'm going to put it, I was going to put it in S, and I was thinking about this all morning before I was making this video. I was like, oh man, I think this is going to go in S as well. But it's going to go in the highest slot of A, because it's his characters and stories that resonate with me the most, especially this latest playthrough. So I'm hoping you can agree where I rank it here. But again, if you don't, let me know in the comments section below. It's key to keep the conversation going. A tier list is someone's representation of what something is to them, a ranking in their view, and share it out to the world. Because you may go back into Final Fantasy VIII and go, you know what, I agree with you, Jen. Or you might not. It's one of those things that's everyone's opinion is different. And I really think that the tier list system is a good way to kind of reflect it in a more simple terms, but then explain with it a bit more detail. So let's move on to the third and final one. And you're probably thinking, Jen, this is quite a quick video. Yes, we're only covering 3 games here with a little bit of the mixing of the other ones. But I was thinking, Final Fantasy IX, where does this go? Final Fantasy IX, after playing all of the games before it, so that was 1 through to 8, really added to the experience of 9. I felt like it was a lot more, it felt like home. And I feel like if I played 9 first and tried to get that platinum out of the way without playing the ones before it, I think there's a lot of things I would have missed and not appreciated. This time I appreciated it a lot more, and it is one of the greats. It really is, and I do want that remake. I will watch Memoria Project several more times until I get that announcement from Square, but I digress. Final Fantasy IX is a real good game, but I do think Final Fantasy VII is better. I do think Final Fantasy V is better, and I'm really torn of where it goes on A. I'm like, does it go in front of Final Fantasy VIII? Remember, this is my opinion. Or does it go behind Final Fantasy VIII? And I think, you know, Final Fantasy IX, the only thing that I really hated about it was its battle system in regards of how clunky and slow it is. Apart from that, I had a real good time. It has some real good side content. And now I'm going through this in my mind. I'm like, yep, you're definitely going to be going there, Zidane, today. And I think that's where I'm going to stick it. I think Zidane, Final Fantasy IX, is an A tier Final Fantasy. It's very shy of a S tier. I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I'm like, should I put it in S? Shall I just bite the bullet? Is it really just the battle system and the clunkiness that's holding you back? Why have you not got it in S? That is a good question, Jen. I'm glad you asked that. And for that reason, I think he's going to go here. He's going to go in S. Yes, that's what I'm going to stick with. See how that's what the cool nature of these are. It gets me thinking and really grinding the gears, and that's why I wanted to come back and change some of the other ones after re-looking at my notes and the videos that I made for them. So there we have it, the updated tier list of Final Fantasy so far. Where will the next break be for me? I'm thinking, because we're not going to be playing Final Fantasy XI, I think once 10, 12 and 13 are done, we will revisit this once again. So I'll probably see you next year, because I'm playing through Final Fantasy X at the moment and it's been quite of a slog. I'm still getting through the story, and not to bash it or anything, it's just a long game. You know, there's no boosts on the PlayStation version to kind of speed up battles. If you die, you need to watch all those cutscenes over again that you may have experienced, so it's taking a little bit longer. But yeah, I think the next time we'll revisit this tier list is when we've done Final Fantasy 13. So the question is, guys, do you agree with what I've got here? Let me know in the comment section below. That's all I really want to know from you guys, because the discussions we have are sometimes crazy, but really, really good and healthy, and I want to keep that up. So please feel free to get some thoughts out there. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified of my content, and you know, hit the like button. It always helps out. So with that all being said, thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.